Yo guys, Coach Theo here on Common Sense, with many interesting things on my mind today, way too many, but I'll try to narrow it down to this point about being bored and how to change it. Let me just first tell you where I'm coming from, and then we'll move on to the specific example of being bored. I want you to understand that literally anything about you, how you function, how you feel and experience things, can be changed. Not in literally any way, but it can be changed. So you understand what I mean? Let's say that someone lost an arm and they feel bad about this. They feel like half a person, lesser of a human being, because they just have one arm. Well, I'm not aware of a way that you can grow this arm back. However, you can completely change this. Okay, first of all, by just building the rest of your body up. So now that one arm you have is strong as fuck, maybe even stronger than both of your arms were together previously. And then you just change the way you look at things. Instead of the victim story of how this happened, where I lost my arm, see all these other people with two arms, I have to do this, poor me kind of thing. It's like, no. See, me as a one-armed individual, I managed to accomplish all of this that most two-armed people cannot do. This is actually the source of my strength. I'm more capable of an individual because of this. See, it's a completely different thing. But people think so much that they just are a certain way. Things or they just are a certain way. I just feel like this. This is just how I am. But you can change and transform things, even things that you couldn't even dream of. But let's take the example also about bodybuilding and genetics. I like to say that genetics don't matter for bodybuilding, as in you can bodybuild, you can get in great shape even if you don't have the best genetics for it initially, right? It's not because someone else has very good genetics for building muscle that you cannot completely change your current shape, right? It's like you've been given a certain set of building blocks, but you can arrange them in, when it's human beings, in effectively an infinite amount of ways, right? And guys, this is such an interesting year for me, 2024. As we all know, a very karmic year, because it's an 8th year, and that's the most karmic number, you know, because what goes around comes around, right? See, you never know what little tidbits I'm going to drop on you. But last year was a very difficult year for me. Like, it was really the year of the shadow work for me, complete contraction state, all year. And of course I've been doing shadow work and internal work all this time. It's really right around the panic attack phase and directly after, and last year when I did it most like consciously, like really just taking full responsibility for my life experience. Okay, like, this is miserable. How did this happen? What things have happened here before? What patterns do exist in my life? What mechanism do I have that lead to that? How can I change them? How do they need to change, and how do I do that? And so on. And growth is so interesting, guys, because of course it can be painful, but it goes so slow, until suddenly it's like, imagine someone that starts to train, wants to build muscle, right? Maybe you feel something in your body, maybe you like see that you use higher numbers on exercise, but you look in the mirror, it's like nothing's happening. And suddenly it's like, when did I get a biceps main? When did I get like an actual round deltoid here? Where I can think about my little niece that I saw so many times trying to walk, using support, standing up, and then just fell back on her ass every time. And then just one day when I see her at the same frequency I had, of course she's waddling like a baby does, but she's walking around like she's been doing this forever, right? Or my YouTube channel, 5 years. Grind to get 5,000 subscribers. Then in 2 months, I tripled that because one old video blew up. And it's very much been the same with what I was working on last year and this year. And guys, internal work, sometimes it's quite difficult to describe. Like, what is it you actually do when you change the way you look at things, for instance? Because if you're bored, as we're gonna get to, right? You feel something is boring, you can't just decide that, no, I want this to be fun now, and then it's just fun. No, it's a gradual process that's not entirely easy to describe what it looks like. But many of the people I work with will recognize this metaphor I've used. That, let's say, when I try to learn to juggle, and yeah, you can get some instruction for someone, but in the end they cannot tell you, like, you throw the balls to exactly this height, you catch it with exactly this timing. No, a lot of it is just going to have to be you not knowing what you're doing, dropping the balls over and over. It's like, I'm not getting this, but suddenly you're just like, something you just got, you just feel it, you just notice it, right? And you keep exploring it, and suddenly you're just juggling, and you don't quite know like what every step of the process there was, but you're doing it now. Well, it's very much the same with this internal work we do. So for me personally, it wasn't really last year I was, oh, I'm going around being so bored, that was the point. But it's something I've been working on this year in a very similar way that I've been working on other things, right? And yeah, like, first of all, let's talk about bored. It's actually a skill to be able to be bored. That's kind of what patience is. Of course, it could be something else than, like, boredom you have to endure. But many times, like, that's that's what you have to do in order to reach goals. Like, be bored. Just let something take a lot of time. Let something not be super stimulating right now. So first of all, you can actually practice the skill of being bored and being fine with it. There are many things. Just fasting from food will teach you this, because that's often the thing, that even when kind of hunger and stuff goes away, that's something that's just a little boring. You don't get this big reward that we usually get on a daily basis, right? It's something I've done to, like, I know, you know, we're overstimulated in this society. We can always be, you know, we don't have to spend much time with just our own thoughts, right? And so I've been doing this silent prayer that I recommend to people from Jesse Lee Peterson. It's not like that it's just a practice in being bored, but it is that, among other things. Just sit and look within. What's going on inside of you? Nothing else, right? That's all you're doing. But as an extension of this, I've started doing a lot of things, because I tell you, it's so easy to be stimulated. Like, either you're snacking on something, or you have some kind of screen, like you have earphones, you have a laptop there, you have your phone here scrolling, you know, whatever. Whatever you do, every mundane little task that people just had to do, it's isolated. Now you can have entertainment going on all the time. And so I've practiced this a lot, that I've worked on a lot this year, that when I notice the impulse that, like, I take this example very often, I'm going to do something like clean the dishes, you know. It comes so naturally, but I don't know, a lot of people do this, like, oh, what will I have on YouTube in the meantime, you know, something like that. But I just started being like, no, I'm just going to do this little thing, you know. So in a sense, it's just getting used to being bored, so it's just not that strong of a thing, you know. Like, it's just like, yeah, some things aren't just like as directly rewarding and stimulating, and that's fine. But then the second thing is that you can actually change something from being boring to something else, okay? And so it's not that you're going to be able to, so if something is boring to you, you feel that way about it right now, most likely you're not going to be able to feel like this is so exciting, super stimulating and rewarding in this moment, but you can change how you look at it. So this is how it works, okay? What you give attention, where you put your, like, consciously direct your awareness, that's what you get more of. There's a great exercise in this, like, it might not work for your situation you're in right now, but look around you and find every red object. Memorize every red object you see around you. Now, tell me about all the brown objects around you. Like, you probably, if there isn't anything here, you don't know of any, right? The point is just that when I told you to put your attention to something else, you don't pick up on the other things, but you pick up on this that I told you to turn your attention towards, right? So let me give the example now of being bored, how I've acted, something I've changed. It's like, because of course, if you're always bored, you feel like you live a boring life. Now we have a systemic issue, like you have to change completely, get some new hobbies. If you're completely drained by your job, like, you need to be looking for a job that's more stimulating for you, and so on. But I had this thing that, okay, I enjoy the sun, I can enjoy nature. But you know how it is with, like, going on a walk. Like, if you use a walk just as that's how I'm going to transport myself somewhere, it might not feel like it's taking so long, or that it's such a task. Or if you go on a walk with, like, a friend and you have a great conversation, you might not feel as if this is like, oh, boring or tough or something. But when you go on a walk just for the sake of going on a walk, like, now I need to go out on a walk because this is how I can feel. Like, in Sweden, we don't have so much sun, like, not so much of the year, but our summers aren't always great. And so lately, for instance, we had a few nice days. So I can have this feeling like I should really capitalize on this, get steps in, and get sunlight. But when I approach it that way, now the walk can, it just doesn't feel as good. It just feels like something that just has to get done. I have to accumulate a certain amount of steps, a certain amount of time outside, then I cannot really enjoy it. It feels boring, is the point. But I've actively, because, like I told you about, like, practicing being bored, not being stimulated all the time, not always having earphones. I'm not saying that it's like that you can't ever go on a walk and listen to some music or a podcast, but I don't want to have to rely on something like that. I want to choose to do that at times. And I also want to be someone that can just like enjoy stillness. And so I've been reframing, I've been actively changing how I look at things when I go on my walk and reframing it. Maybe it's not boring. Maybe it's just nice and quiet. Maybe it's just peaceful and still, you know. And I've just like very actively, when I go through the forest, I like think of, what do I like here? It smells nice. I like the air when I'm among the trees, when it's a little hot. The air is a little cooler here. I like it here, you know. Well, right now I like this, the feeling of this sun on my skin, right? Oh, the little breeze from here. That's nice on my skin. It feels like this, you know. I saw a good picture that kind of illustrated this. It was a little bird that said something. Oh well, I'm not going to be able to quote it, but it makes a point. It feels the happiness or the magic I'm looking for. Like it's something I have to go, like either go to a destination or go get this thing that will make me like have fun, enjoy things now. But I realized that it's not about looking further away, but looking closer. And it's like just how he looks and sees all the details in nature, right? That's very much what I've done. I tell you, it's a gradual process. I've gone on these like disciplined walks when it's just like, I just have to walk a certain distance to accumulate my steps and get my time in the sun here. And it's just, I can't wait until it's over. Now, by doing this gradual practice, this constant practice, but gradual change from how I look at things, I actually very much enjoy the entirety of this walk that I'm in the middle of right now, recording this video. And I look forward to being finished with the video, so I can go enjoy things the way I have. You see? You can change anything. If you think something is boring, like I said, you cannot change it literally any way. I can't make this like, oh, so super fun and exciting. It feels like a party with all my friends here, you know. But I can make it feel, instead of boring, nice, quiet, still, peaceful, enjoyable, instead of something I have to do, you know. So, guys, I have so many other things I'm thinking about in relation to this. It's about cultivating the life experience you want to have. You do it in many ways, you know. Like, both by actually, like, if you want to be an energetic individual, like, you have to change your habit, get in good shape, eat well, sleep well, train well, and that. But it's also these things, like, how do I actually look at things? How do I think? I change the way I think, you know. So, if anything that comes to mind for you, please let me know in the comments. You know, comment anyway and like. It all helps support the channel so where people find their way here, so it's very much appreciated. I do holistic bodybuilding coaching, getting jacked and stacked mentally, physically, spiritually, working on ourselves, body, mind and soul. These kinds of things are included, guys. So if you want to know more, you're interested, send me a DM on Instagram or email me. It's in the description below. You can pick up my training book. You just want to learn more about training on your own before coaching with me. And the Patreon is there for extra content, very often on the philosophical and spiritual side of things. And please subscribe for more content about fitness, fasting, losing weight, building muscle, self-improvement, stoicism, mental health, philosophy, spirituality, mindset. It is a mindset, guys. It's not boring. It's nice and quiet. Peace.